are fat and gay, coming to you live with some Q's and A's. If you have some problems, then all you gotta do is ask dear Flabby, where the fuck are you?
Dear Flabby, I'm looking to buy a house as a first-time home buyer. I've been budgeting $1,300 a month to put in savings and saved up enough to cover 10 to 15% down, and I'm now saving for a closing cost while I shop for a house. Do you have any advice in buying a home for someone who has almost no idea what I'm doing? The only part I understand is the paperwork due to I'm a union steward, but I'm hiring a lawyer for that. Any red flags or warning you can give and advice will be helpful. Thank you. P.S. I love the daily uploads. Okay, my advice is do not buy the house.
Any house?
No, he shouldn't buy a house.
Why?
Okay, so I think that people are being told too often to buy a house when they don't understand the commitment. This guy, I can tell just by what he wrote that he doesn't understand the commitment.
Because he's asking us for advice.
But his qualifications for understanding paperwork is that he's a union steward. That's not a...
He's a union steward in our fucking union. He's a union steward in our Navy. That makes it even worse.
If that's the case, like, I retract my previous statement. If he's a union steward in our Navy,
mm-hmm.
then by all rights, he is qualified to understand paperwork.
And not only that, but if he's a union steward in our Navy and he buys a house, doesn't that automatically mean that either one of us has a place to live if we need it, right? I mean, that's not how that works.
Well, if he was a good union steward, he would understand the fine print where it says your house is now our house. Okay,
your house is our house.
My advice to him is do not buy a house right now.
Okay. We've had this discussion before. You've always been on the side of don't buy a house, rent a house. I've always been on the side of buy a house if you have the opportunity to buy a house. I think buying a house.
But you're wrong. Like,
why?
You're giving him the same advice. It's no different than saying go to college if you have the opportunity. It's obvious he doesn't understand what the commitment is in buying a house. And so for you to advise him of that is not only irresponsible, it's irresponsible.
What commitment is there to buying a house that he's not aware of?
Don't you have to sign papers and stuff?
Yeah. Yep. You got me.
All right.
Oh God, what? That's hilarious.
I guess we're done with that one then.
I don't understand what commitment is he not.
Are we still going with that one?
Yeah, sure. Why not? I don't care. It's up to you. I don't really care. I think that if you would have been financially responsible at a younger age, you would be giving the same advice. Buy a house.
No, you're missing the point. You're saying anytime that you have saved up money, buy a house. Even if you don't need it. Even if you got 7 houses,
even
buy
if you don't need it.
I'm saying he doesn't understand. He doesn't have the concept, the wherewithal, the knowledge, the experience to make a sound decision. So he has no idea what good interest rates are. Like he is the type of person that would sign up for, what is it, arm loan?
Like where they adjust the rate on you, like you pay for 5 years and then you have the rate adjusts way high.
That's what I'm talking about. Is somebody will say, well, I'm going to buy a house because that's what makes me an adult, without having any idea of what they're signing. Mm-hmm. They buy an $80,000 house for $120,000, and in 5 years they have a fucking balloon payment that they can't fucking get out of, and then they're fucked for the rest of their life or until they file bankruptcy. And I'm saying until you fully understand everything about real estate and how banking works, then you shouldn't buy a house.
Unless you're a real estate mogul, don't buy a house.
and your dumb advice is, yeah, you worked hard, you saved up money, go give it to a bank. That way you can say you're a homeowner.
I didn't say any of that.
That's what you said. Anytime that you have an opportunity to buy a house, you should buy a house.
I said if you have let me amend my statement. if you have an opportunity to buy a house and you want to buy a house, you want to own a house, and you don't already have 7 of them.
So you're discarding all my previous advice then. You're saying my advice is bad.
Not necessarily bad. It's just misguided. It's coming from a place of like you've
telling somebody to pay attention to what documents they're signing is misguided advice.
No, I agree with that advice. Pay attention. You didn't say pay attention to what documents you're signing, but I agree with that advice. Pay attention to what documents you're signing. Yes. Don't get an adjustable rate mortgage. Yes, that's fine. But your whole thing is like you're coming from a place of being against buying houses just in general. And I disagree with that. And I come from a place of buying houses in general. That's a good idea.
I am not against buying houses. I am against me buying a house. It doesn't make sense for me to buy a house.
Yeah, that makes sense. I completely because of the way that your life is. I understand that. I get it. But your
wait a minute. If I bought a house, would that stop people from evicting me? Because then maybe I should buy a house.
No, that's not how that works at all. You would have to pretty much evict yourself.
Oh yeah, buy the house. Buy a second one in case you decide to evict yourself.
Right. I agree with you that like ba-boom.